Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. Well, y'all, I do have an announcement. There is some technical problems going on with the coupon code over at Etsy. So, what I'm going to do, I'm still waiting to hear back from them. They're working on it. So, if we lose today, then I will just extend the sale. Instead of ending it on the 2nd, I'll end it on the 3rd. So I will keep you posted. Just, um, be on the lookout in the community tab for any updates. So let's get started. So we heard chatter about the National Guard going to Chicago. Well, it is going to happen after Labor Day. The National Guard will be going to Chicago. And of course, you got the mayor, Brandon Johnson, and Governor Pritzker. They're opposing it, and they're pretty much doing the same thing DC did before Donald Trump went in there and took that over. So the same thing looked like it will be playing out in Chicago. The ICE raids ramped up also in DC, and I'm sure it'll happen in Chicago as well, as the different federal agencies plus the National Guard will be patrolling the streets over in Chicago. Thank you, Monica Gregory, for the super sticker. So, talking about going to more cities even after Chicago. So let me go ahead and share my screen and we will get started. Right. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you. Okay.
It is a priority of this administration to ensure that American cities are safe again. And I'm so glad that you brought up the crime in Chicago, because we've been seeing the governor of Illinois parading out there saying that there's nothing wrong with Chicago. It's a great place to live. There's no crime there. He doesn't need President Trump's help. Well, I think the residents of Chicago beg to differ, and the statistics beg to differ. And I'll just share a few of those statistics with all of you. For 13 consecutive years, Chicago has had the most murders of any U.S. city. This is J.B. Pritzker's legacy, by the way. For 7 consecutive years, Chicago has had the highest murder rate among U.S. cities with more than 1 million people. In 2024, just last year, Chicago's murder rate per capita was 3 times higher than Los Angeles and nearly 5 times higher than New York City. That's more than double the murder rate in Islamabad and nearly 15 times more than Delhi. Out of Chicago's 147,899 reported crimes this year, that's how many crimes have been reported in Chicago since January 1st. There have only been arrests in 16% of them. These numbers are unacceptable.
What's going on, guys? It's me, Jeremy. August 22nd, 2025, guys. So we had a lot go on today. I think the biggest news was the Chicago comments by Trump that's going to be the next target. A lot of people were wondering, LA, Chicago, New York. It's coming to my state. I'm in Illinois. I'm way south. I'm not anywhere near Chicago, so I'm not trying to connect myself to Chicago. I do have a friend that's on their way to Chicago this weekend. She literally just left her house and she's like, yeah, I'm on my way to Chicago for the weekend. I was like, ooh, with her little toddler there. So I didn't really want to even bring it up. I just told her to be safe and wished her well. But for all the people that are going to be in Chicago, these music festivals, I'm going to remind everyone, it's not the play. It's not the play, especially when Pete Hegseth comes out and says the National Guard can now start carrying weapons, live ammo weapons. They're setting the stage. They want to entice a reaction. They want you to fire the first, or at least be the reason that the first shot is fired. so they can justify steamrolling the rest of the agenda. They're trying to, it's the poking the bear. Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're poking, they're poking the bear. They're poking you, edging you, as the kids say. Don't fall for it. This is why I say don't go to the music festivals. It's not, don't even put yourself in a position to allow your emotional response to lead to any kind of progression for them. Don't do it. You want to be coming together with other people right now. You want to be holding events and you want to be exchanging your skill set information. 144 on the clock. If you know, you know. That's what you want to be doing right now, guys. You want to be presenting yourself. What skills do you have? Are you willing to relocate? What areas are you familiar with? That's what you need to be doing. You need to be building tribe and community. Okay? Come up with your own stable coin like Wyoming just did, like Trump and all these other people. See, they haven't let you in on the big secret. The whole world's for sale right now. You can create your own kingdom. The whole world's for sale. The gig is up. The fiat gig is up. The spell is up. They want you to think that you are at a loss right now because they got you confused and distracted. But this right now is reclaiming ownership over the land. Not, you don't own the land, but you know what I'm saying. Like custodianship, reclaiming custodianship, right? Taking back sovereign responsibilities, taking back generational wealth. Okay. Taking back your land. Everything's for sale right now. Look at all the different Trump, everyone, companies, banks, meme coins, everyone's creating their own. You can create your own currency right now. You can create and you can build your own tribe and your own community. And I trust the universe will protect that if you come together and you claim. This is how it works, guys. This is how it works. Why do you think tribes are always protected? Like they don't ever get sucked into the matrix, right? They get affected a little bit, but like, you know, they stay on the islands and they stay in there because they stay protected by their energy. They stay true to themselves and their identity. Just something to think about, guys. So while everyone's getting all hyped up, getting ready to go protest in Chicago, don't give them a reason, guys. And don't be tough about it. Don't fall for this is the only way. Okay? Maybe if you show that you don't need the system for a little while, you know, detox from it, you know, take some sacrifice, you'll show the Most High you're ready, and the Most High will come in and swipe it all away, bringing that heaven on earth, that New Jerusalem. But you're going to have to walk away. You have to show that you don't need the junk food, that you don't need the social media, that you don't need the distractions, right? That you can live simple, that you can go without for a little while. Book of Job. That's where you're at now. Book of Job, guys. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here. I'm rambling. Chicago, watch your back. That's all I'm saying. Watch your back. Come together and walk away instead of, you know, take on the system, because that's a battle you're not going to win. You never have. It's cyclical. History repeats itself. The empire always just reshapes, reforms, rebrands, and pops right back up. And you didn't even know that they won the whole time.
Did you know ICE asks for access to Chicago Navy base to assist operations, according to the Washington Post? The Trump administration wants to use a Navy base north of Chicago as a launch pad for federal law enforcement activity against undocumented immigration, defense officials said on Tuesday, in case you missed it.
So the government is threatening to send the National Guards to Chicago. And I feel conflicted about it. And the reason why I feel conflicted about it is because, once again, everyone is looking for law enforcement, political figures, school teachers, etc., to handle the problems that Chicago is encountering. Majority of the problems that Chicago is encountering are these young people running around acting like goddamn animals. They acting like maniacs. And you know why? Due to lack of parenting. Yes, lack of structure. So if you're going to send the National Guards in, send the National Guards to their goddamn homes, to the parents. Hold the parents accountable. I don't know, lock them up. Charge them. Start making them pay fines. I don't know. I don't have the solution. But I really don't think that the National Guards are the solution. I don't think the Chicago police are the solution. The Chicago police officers want to go home just like we want to go home every day. They want to feel safe as well. They are here to serve and protect us. That's what they're supposed to do. They're not here to raise your children. They're not here to do that. And the National Guards are not supposed to do that. National Guards are trained for combat. They're trained for war. They're not trained for handling no young person. These YNs out here acting like goddamn fools. The parents are supposed to do that. So if we want to start doing something, let's hold these parents accountable. You got some shitty ass parents out here. You can't tell me that you don't know that John bringing guns in your house. You can't tell me that you don't know that he's smoking weed in your house. You can't tell me that you so oblivious that you don't realize he's out in the streets 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. He on 13, 14 years old. No. It starts in the household. I have clients who are school teachers, clients who are Chicago police officers. They are all saying the things that they encounter with these parents. These parents suck. Parents, your goddamn children. So if you're going to bring the National Guards in, find a way to hold these parents accountable. Find a way to go after their asses. That's all I'm saying. Because I don't think bringing the National Guards in is going to stop crime. I don't. Unless you really tackle the problem. The problem are these fucked up parents.
Mr. President, do not come to Chicago. As I've said many times in the past, members of the National Guard are not trained to serve as law enforcement. They are trained for the battlefield, and they're good at it. They're not trained to arrest people and read them their Miranda rights. They did not sign up for the National Guard to fight crime. And when we call them into service, we are reaching into local communities and taking people who have jobs and families away from their neighborhoods and the people who rely upon them. It is insulting to their integrity and to the extraordinary sacrifices that they make to serve in the Guard, to use them as a political prop. If Donald Trump was actually serious about fighting crime in cities like Chicago, he, along with his congressional Republicans, would not be cutting over $800 million in public safety and crime prevention grants nationally, including cutting $158 million in funding to Illinois for violence prevention programs that deploy trained outreach workers to de-escalate conflict on our streets, cutting $71 million in law enforcement grants to Illinois, direct money for police departments through programs like Project Safe Neighborhoods, the state and local anti-terrorism training program, and the Rural Violent Crime Reduction Initiative, cutting $137 million in child protection measures in Illinois that protect our kids against abuse and neglect. Trump is defunding the police.
As the mayor of this city, I can tell you that Chicagoans are not calling for a military occupation. They are calling for the same thing that we've been calling for some time, and that's investment. What safe cities across America all have in common, they invest in people, and that's what we're doing in Chicago. We need the federal resources to make sure that we're building more affordable housing, expanding mental and behavioral health care, education, all of these things that could reduce crime and provide real community safety. Instead of spending hundreds of millions of dollars for a publicity stunt to invoke chaos and terror, the federal government should spend that money on proven solutions to crime and violence reduction.
The Trump administration wants to use the Navy base north of Chicago as a launchpad for federal law enforcement activity against undocumented immigration. And this comes after the White House contemplates also deploying thousands of U.S. troops to Chicago amid rising tensions between the Illinois governor. The base, a hub for recruit training, would provide facilities, infrastructure, and other logistical needs if the request is granted. So far, no decision to approve access has been made, as that responsibility lies with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. And considering he's already approved the use of other military bases to build detention facilities, I foresee him approving this too. Overall, I'm not happy about the federal government expanding their power like this, but what do you think? Let me know in the comments. As always, follow for more, share the news, Fuzz and Captain, out.
So Trump wants to send the National Guard to a city near you as a domestic police force. First, he did it in LA, and the locals did not like that, so they protested. Now he's doing it in DC, and once again, the locals are protesting. And now he's saying Chicago's next.
And the people in Chicago Mr. Vice President, are screaming for us to come. They're wearing red hats.
I think I speak for everybody, west side, south side, north side, over east, downtown. Nobody wants you here, Trump. Now, how do I know that? I stay in Chicago, and I was invited to Governor Pritzker's press conference, and I think he speaks for everyone when he says,
Mr. President, do not come to Chicago. You are neither wanted here nor needed here.
now, why would Trump not listen to the governors of these states and violate the 10th Amendment right for them to govern their citizens themselves? Like, school just got back into session. Nobody wants to see a tank when they're taking their children to school. I don't think that makes anyone really feel safe. It's because LA, DC, and Chicago are all sanctuary cities, meaning they don't cooperate with the federal law enforcement, such as ICE. And that means local officials will not be helping ICE abduct people off the street in broad daylight. So now we know he's targeting immigrant sanctuaries and his political enemies who don't agree with him, which seems really, really fascist. And he's ignoring that the cities with the highest homicide rates are actually in red states. 13 out of 20 are actually in Republican-based states. Honestly, he's not looking out for Americans. He just wants more control. He's shipping people to concentration camps in Florida and El Salvador without any due process. And he's getting too inspired by his friend Kim Jong-un here. Putting your face on giant banners. Yeah, that looks really familiar. Throwing military parades for your birthday. Using the FBI to raid the house of your former advisor who now criticizes you. And now he's saying that Americans want a dictator. Could he be any more obvious? My fellow Americans, let me be clear. We've got to face the facts. This man is trying to be a dictator. And democracy dies if we do nothing to support it. So if anything, you have to be somewhat a little woke to what's going on. Just be aware, be cognizant, but also support the people around you locally. And if you can act on a national level, do so.
Tonight, we've also learned the president signed an executive order which establishes specialized National Guard units to address crime in cities. ABC 7's Eric Hong downtown with late-breaking details tonight.
The mayor and governor say there's been no communication from the White House and say that lack of coordination, even with police, shows the Trump administration isn't serious about lowering crime.
In a show of solidarity, elected officials joined dozens of business, faith, and civic leaders in denouncing what they called a presidential power grab.
The president of the United States is doing this for theatrics. This is not because we've asked for it. It is not because there is some justice that he is going to seek. It is because he wants to create chaos.
Earlier, President Donald Trump signing an executive order that aims to create specialized units in the National Guard, trained in quelling civil disturbances and ensuring the public's safety and order. It also establishes a quick reaction force, available for rapid nationwide deployment, a clear sign the president wants to use the Guard in domestic law enforcement.
Chicago, everybody knows how bad it is. Everybody standing there knows. We know. You don't have to be doing any studies. They should be saying, please come in.
We should have done this a long time ago so that every neighborhood in Chicago deserves the same safety and security that we enjoy in the suburbs.
But an ABC 7 data team analysis of Chicago police crime numbers shows overall violent crime and homicides at their lowest level year to date since 2014.
There is no emergency in the city of Chicago. I think you can see what a lovely place this is.
The governor staging a photo op on a boat on the Chicago River to dispute the president's view that Chicago is a mess.
This is an authoritarian stunt. This is a declaration of war on our people.
It will impact businesses' bottom lines and ability to operate efficiently. It will impact tourism.
Some Republicans say the Guard can make a difference.
And if we even save one life, I think it's worth the challenge, because Chicago has been crime-ridden for so long and people have had enough.
But is it legal? Constitutional experts say the president can only nationalize the Guard in the event of a rebellion, for an invasion, or when federal laws can't be enforced.
We've had guardsmen in the street before, but they were ordered in by the governor.
Officials vowing legal action, but it would likely come after a deployment. Illinois' Attorney General says there are challenges in filing a preemptive lawsuit.
We have major news right now. We're about to see a major uptick in National Guard presence in 19 states across the country. More than 1,700 members of the National Guard are set to deploy mid-August through mid-November for a 3-month period. Here's what we know right now. The 19 states obtained by Fox News include Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Mexico, Ohio, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Virginia, Wyoming. And Texas is projected to have the largest National Guard presence in the state. Now remember, this does not include what Donald Trump expects to do in Chicago and in New York, which may include the National Guard as well. So this is separate and apart. This is for immigration enforcement, for crime-related issues in those states. Many of those states are red and Republican states. We now have more than 2,000 members of the military in Washington, D.C., about to have 1,700 more deployed in 19 states across the country. And get ready, Chicago and New York, because you're next. So spread the word so more people know. Follow along for all the news you need to know about. More to come very soon.
Border Czar Thomas Homan said that there will be a ramp up of immigration and custom enforcement operations in Chicago right after Labor Day. He said we're going to see a ramp up of operations continue in New York, operations continuing in LA, Portland, Seattle, all these sanctuary cities that refuse to work with ICE, where they know public safety threats are being released every day into this country. Homan also confirmed that there are discussions being had about ICE using a naval base north of Chicago as an operations center. Looks like you need to get ready, blue cities, because ICE, they seem to be coming, whether you want them there or not. So if you're in a blue city right now, understand they're sending boots on the ground. They're not joking. They weren't joking in DC. They weren't joking in New York. And they're definitely not joking now. Stay safe. Figure out how to move without getting hurt or arrested, because they're gunning for you guys.
I have a question for Chicago residents and Chicago residents only. If you're not from Chicago, please, feel free to stay. But this is for the Chicago residents. So in 2020, there were the George Floyd protests, and then there were, separate from them, there were looters and rioters that were obviously in bad faith, but it still happened. So the response from the Latino community, if I remember, was defending their small businesses by posting up on top of them with things that could fire lead projectiles through the air, if you catch my drift. So I don't know what the Fanta fascist is thinking when he is going to send in the National Guard to Chicago to support ICE agents. Because my thought process is, if they're willing to defend their businesses from theft, I imagine the response is going to be similar, if not more elevated, when people are trying to take their family members. Do we agree, other Chicago residents? Because I think this is going to be the biggest display of fucking around and finding out that I have ever seen, if it does happen. I know so many people have been like, oh, Chicago is not the one, but it really isn't. I mean, I don't know, I feel like if it's going to get violent anywhere, it's going to get violent there. Just saying.
Meantime, a fight is brewing here in Chicago as the Trump administration is making plans to move in with either ICE agents or National Guard troops, or possibly both. Trump's borders are confirming to News Nation the Great Lakes Naval Base, which is just outside of Chicago, could play a major role in operations.
Confirmed that there's a naval base that's going to be used as an ICE operations center hub north of Chicago ahead of operations in the city.
There's discussions about that, yes.
How soon could we see ICE agents using that as a hub?
We'll see. It's under discussions. The planning's still being discussed, so maybe by the end of the day, but yeah, it's being discussed. We're not going to tell you how many resources we're going to send to the city. We don't want the bad guy to know what we're sending. It'll be a large contingent.
All right, it was hard to hear there, but that was our Libby Dean talking to the border czar there, asking him about the naval base. And all of this coming as Illinois leaders continue saying they do not want federal presence. News Nation's Alex Capriello live for us here in Chicago's Pilsen neighborhood. And Alex, that is an area which could be impacted by potential federal raids.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Nicole. Pilsen is a largely immigrant, mainly Hispanic community
where you see signs like these on storefront windows, really commonplace. Keep ICE out of our communities. These, of course, have been up almost all summer since June when that really scare began happening. But in general, right now, this neighborhood really is on edge, considering the Trump administration has seemingly confirmed that ICE agents are going to be surging to Chicago soon. This morning at the White House, Border Czar Tom Homan confirming federal agents would operate from the Naval Station Great Lakes, close to the border of Illinois and Wisconsin, beginning as soon as next week. Other anonymous sources with knowledge of that situation tell News Nation this is a much larger federal operation involving DHS, Customs and Border Protection, and then also possibly the National Guard. In fact, Homan put much of the country on notice, saying deportation operations will ramp up after Labor Day in other sanctuary cities like New York, Portland, and Seattle. Regardless of any new surge beginning next week, immigration enforcement has continued in Chicago since Trump took office. This morning, we received this exclusive video from a raid here in Pilsen earlier this summer, where you could see those federal agents chase down an undocumented migrant through a restaurant and into his apartment. The building owner who gave us this video says the officers didn't have a search warrant to enter, and ultimately 2 people were deported. She's also asked to remain anonymous, but underscored to us just how much this largely Hispanic community is watching each other's backs.
But as a community, as business owners, we all keep each other informed of anything that we see, just like they keep themselves informed and communicate, so do we. And we just have to be vigilant and aware, because it's sad that it's not only undocumented, but documented as well.
And what we continue to hear from both city and state leaders, Mayor Brandon Johnson and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, is that they have had no conversations, no communications, no collaborations with the federal government up to this point.
Yeah, saying that there's been no communication. Alex, though, News Nation was the first to break the story with Secretary Noem saying that strike teams would be coming to Chicago, quote, very soon. Do we know what that would or what that could entail?
Yeah, Secretary Noem not really giving us a very established timeline of when that might be. But of course, the news started trickling out after that, particularly with this news about potentially the Naval Force Base actually being utilized. Secretary Noem making that comment really in passing to Kelly Meyer. But we do have an idea of what strike teams might look like, considering we've seen them firsthand. They are highly specialized tactical units that are often brought in to carry out complex missions. And News Nation's Allie Bradley actually rode along with a strike team in Omaha, Nebraska, when they actually raided a food processing plant. And that's where we saw at least 70 different people deported after their immigration status was known. Nicole.
All right, Alex Gabriella live.
Grossly incompetent. And we'll straighten that one out probably next. That'll be our next one after this.
The president's Oval Office comments come as Chicago police data shows overall crime since the first of the year is down 13% compared to the same period last year, and violent crime is down 23%.
I think he wants to provoke violence, because if he can provoke violence, then it's going to be martial law.
Never trust a religious leader, especially one that would consider themselves a Christian, that are supporting the Democrat Party. You never trust those people.
The federal military on American citizens is a sign of authoritarianism.
The president claiming many in Chicago want the Guard.
Screaming for us to come. They're wearing red hats, just like this one, but they're wearing red hats. African-American ladies, beautiful ladies are saying, please, President Trump, come to Chicago.
Thank you, President Donald Trump, for hearing us.
Zoe Lee and Daniel Carter Walters founded the conservative group Chicago Flips Red and says despite CPD's numbers, many don't feel safe.
And if the Democrat Party, only thing they can do to help us is tell us crime is down, then hey, we welcome the National Guard.
Yeah. And a lot of people feel the exact same way, because what we do know is these cities, man, they juke the stats. But the people that live in these cities, the people that live in these areas, high crime areas, they will tell you something different, and you know it. But this is a flashback clip I want to share with you guys, man. Youngins in the hood talking about supporting President Trump. Check this out.
Kamala Trump. Trump? Yeah. Come on, bro.
Kamala till it's backwards, bro.
What did you Kamala, we voting for Trump, boy. What are you talking about? You know damn well we don't Kamala.
Why? Why, bro?
Give out free stamps and everything. You tweaking.
Yeah, that's how you feel.
You tweaking.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'm Kamala.
Man, you and Kamala.
Come on, bro. I can't even have my opinion. Damn, bro.
Bro, you voted for you, so you with all them Venezuela. You with all that goofy.
Yeah.
Nah, ain't no yeah. That's why I shit up because of you.
Damn, bro. I can't have my opinion on something.
No, not her.
Yeah.
Not her. She bad for the community. We're
yeah.
Vote for Trump, gang.
No, I ain't gonna lie, bro.
I want to share this thing with you because leave it to white liberals. Leave it to white liberals want to keep the status quo, right? Check this out, man. Vince, man, that white liberal women are some of the worst people in the country. Seriously. They're awful. They are some awful, hateful, spiteful human beings. The Trump derangement syndrome with these people is on 1,000.
Operations are ramp up across the country, but you can see a ramp up of operations in Chicago, absolutely. You're going to see a ramp up of operations in New York. You're going to see a ramp up of operations continue in LA. And, Portland, Seattle. I mean, all these sanctuary cities that refuse to work with ICE, where we know public safety threats are being released every day into this country, especially those cities, we're going to address that. We don't have that problem in Texas and Florida where all the sheriffs are working with us. They're actually holding people for us and letting us know when someone's being released. So we're going to take the assets we have and move them to problem areas like sanctuary cities where we know for a fact they're releasing public safety threat, illegal aliens to the streets every day. That's where we need to send the majority of the resource, and that's where they're going.
If the National Guard comes to Chicago, and that is still a big if at this point, what might that look like? Hi, I'm WGN's Ben Bradley. We can look at what's happening in Washington, D.C. for clues. Last week, for example, masked federal agents stopped a delivery driver on a moped. With a small crowd looking on, the agents confirmed his legal status in the U.S. and allowed him to move on.
Calm. I have no reason to go against them or get angry. Just stay calm when this happens to you.
The Trump team is heralding successes. More than 11 days without a murder in Washington, 700 arrests, although many were for misdemeanors, and 36 immigration-related arrests in a single day.
D.C. was a hellhole, and now it's safe.
The reality is more nuanced. Some see this as security theater.
We have National Guard standing down on the National Mall, standing around doing absolutely nothing. Couldn't those resources be better served in cleaning up communities like this? People who are asking, who are screaming, who need the help.
Unlike in D.C., President Trump can't order Chicago police to cooperate with the military, so the two may operate separately. Here, Border Czar Tom Homan said they'd be used to help ICE agents round up people who are in this country illegally.
It's not a coincidence that the highest crime rates in the country are in sanctuary cities.
But mobilizing the military is not cheap. The Pentagon estimated the 60-day deployment in Los Angeles back in June would cost $134 million. That could pay a year's salary for more than 2,000 rookie Chicago cops. You can watch our reporting on this issue at WGNTV.com.
Another day, another attack launched from the White House at Chicago.
Because everybody knows Chicago is a hellhole right now. Everybody knows. It's not like he's saying Chicago has much better numbers, right? Well, what's much better? You mean 100 people are going to be murdered? It's going to be much more than that.
Chicago crime is trending in the right direction. Overall, violent crime is down significantly year over year. 2024 did see 580 homicides, but that number is down from its most recent peak in 2021 when homicides hit 804.
I would love to have the governor of Illinois call me and say, look, we have a problem in Chicago. We will stop that problem in Chicago in 2 months, maybe less. 2 months, we'll stop it.
The president most likely would be waiting on a call from Governor Pritzker for a very long time.
What we are doing in the state right now is making sure that the president and those folks in Washington who are thinking about sending troops on the ground in a major American city.
What's up, y'all? It's me reporting to you live. I hear that the National Guards are now in Chicago. Tell me, what do you think about this? Do you think it's necessary? What's your thoughts? Drop it in the comments.
I think that if Trump ends up sending troops to Chicago, it's actually going to be about immigration enforcement at the end of the day. The Washington Post is reporting coordinated ICE and National Guard plans for Chicago. the Trump administration is trying to hit its goal of 1 million deportations per year, but it's not doing that so far. So it's trying to ramp up arrests, including in so-called sanctuary cities like Washington, D.C., Chicago, New York, and Denver. Trump administration officials have said that they, in particular, want to focus on these places and they want to, quote unquote, restore order. But the fact of the matter is that because of so-called sanctuary policies, it's harder for federal immigration officials to be arresting people in those same jurisdictions. Actually, where people are more likely to be arrested is in Republican-led jurisdictions that are cooperating with the Trump administration, including through having their state and local police helping out ICE with operations, like what's happening in Florida, for example. So if we see a surge of federal agents heading into Chicago or these other cities, I think that it's really important that everyone keeps in mind that this may actually be driven in large part by Trump's mass deportations campaign. I'm Kathleen. I'm an immigration policy analyst in Washington, D.C. Let me know if you have questions about Trump's immigration policies or what's going on with ICE arrests.
Interesting. People of Chicago, you need to be aware because the National Guard may be deployed to you very soon based on what Trump just recently posted, which I'm going to show you and let me know what you believe. Also, hit the follow for more news. I greatly appreciate it. So Trump said, Governor Pritzker had 6 murders in Chicago this weekend. 20 people were shot, but he doesn't want to ask me for help. Can this be possible? The people are desperate for me to stop the crime, something the Democrats aren't capable of doing. Stay tuned, President Donald J. Trump. And this comes after the governor said that there is no crime emergency in Chicago and that Trump is attempting to manufacture a crisis, politicize Americans who serve in uniform, and continue abusing his power to distract from the pain he is causing working families. He also said that if Trump does send the National Guard, actions will be met with a response. So, do you believe Chicago needs the National Guard?
If you are in the Chicago area, after Donald Trump is finished with D.C., he coming to Chicago, y'all. Get ready. I don't know what he think he's doing right now. I guess he called himself trying to clean up a mess, he says. But he said he coming to Chicago, guys, all right? From D.C.
Are federal troops coming here to Chicago? President Trump is certainly signaling it's the next American city on his list.
Chicago, Illinois is a disaster. I have property there. It's a disaster. I made the statement that next should be Chicago because, as you all know, Chicago is a killing field.
And leaders here in Chicago are pushing back.
Mr. President, do not come to Chicago.
The governor of Illinois spending the day walking through the city, trying to make the point there is no emergency that would justify the use of the National Guard here in Chicago.
They do tremendous work, but we don't call them in unless there is truly an emergency. And there is not one. It's one of the reasons that we're standing right here is you can see that this city is actually operating extraordinarily well and in a much better position from a crime perspective than it was 4 years ago.
While city leaders say, hey, there's more work to do, shootings, robberies, and murders are all down more than 30% when compared to last year.
Governor, this is all very intentional. You're floating right now in front of Trump Tower. Is there anything you can do to stop them from federalizing the National Guard here?
Look, we're going to take them to court. We're going to make sure that they know, that the court knows and understands that there is no cause for this, that there is no emergency, there is no law in the books that allows him to put federalized troops on the streets of the city of Chicago. That's what we're going to do to begin with.
The one thing that is almost certain, this will end up before a judge.
We're responding to what Donald Trump is saying about Chicago. It seems like Chicago lives rent-free in his head, that maybe I live rent-free in his head. He mentions Chicago and me quite a lot, and has, by the way, for the last, 8-10 years. Well, what he's suggesting is against the law. And so the very first thing that we're doing is preparing to go to court to prevent or stop what he's attempting to do. Second is drawing attention to the fact that it's illegal, unconstitutional. Frankly, it's un-American to send troops into American cities when there's no emergency, there's no insurrection. And he's only doing it because he wants to disrupt future elections. He wants to cause fear and, frankly, to inflame people on the ground by sending troops.
So Chicago leaders are outside right now protesting against Daddy Trump coming to their town.
Oh, what is the problem? So you have watched with your own eyes how Washington, D.C. has dropped crime like tremendously. They've had 0 murders in a week. You have people going on lives and doing videos about how safe Chicago is, about how clean the streets are. They can't even see a piece of paper. You have women on video saying that they're at a stoplight with their window down, and they don't ever do that because if your window's down, you'll probably get robbed. Like, what? I'm so happy about the safety of my city right now, just hearing that. I ride with my window down all the time. So now he's saying I'm going to Chicago because we have all these beautiful Black women with Trump hats on that say, we need your help. So I'm ready to go help them. Shout out to you, baby, for listening to the ladies, okay? So I just think it's hilarious how all Trump has to say is, I'm going to Chicago next. And now all of the mayor, whoever the hell, all them people are out there like, we don't want you, Trump. We don't want no military over here, Trump. We're already fighting crime, Trump. But you ain't fighting crime to get 0 murders in a week. You ain't doing that. Why wouldn't you want them to come to your state and say, get rid of all the crime? Like, if you could come for 2 weeks, get rid of everything, and then we're good? Are you kidding me? And then we could pick it up from there and keep it rolling? Y'all are stupid. You don't care about the people. And you hellas don't care about Black folks. You want to make it to where you think that they're doing this against us? Meanwhile, they're doing it for us and for everybody else, every American. Stop trying to separate us, okay? We're all American. We all deserve the safety. We all deserve the opportunities. We all deserve it all, okay? And Trump is trying to give it to us, and I love it. Daddy's coming to Chicago, baby. I dare y'all. The more y'all talk, the more he's coming. Y'all don't realize that by now? He don't listen to y'all. He don't give 2 shits. And frankly, neither do we. And I hope the people of Chicago who know that they need help and want help get their help. Despite of you hating ass Democrats constantly trying to keep Americans down. Go get them, Daddy.
There are reports that the Pentagon is planning a military deployment to Chicago as part of President Trump's crackdown on crime, homelessness, and undocumented immigration. If approved, the mission would have parallels to deployments to Los Angeles and Washington, D.C. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, both Democrats, say sending troops is unwelcome and unwarranted. On Friday, the president touted his intervention in Washington and suggested that Chicago could be next, followed by New York City.
All right, y'all. It's happening. It's happening. And it doesn't matter what the governor and mayor says. Trump already said next week, the National Guard and all those feds are going to be all up in Chicago. That's exactly what's going to happen. So, I mean, they can say whatever they want. We saw what happened in DC. DC said the same thing. The mayor was very vocal about not wanting to be occupied. But she and DC, they are occupied. And the same thing's going to happen in Chicago. And Donald Trump is not going to pay attention. We know most of the crime is in the red states. Donald Trump is not going to pay attention to them. He's going to pay attention only to the blue states. So the red states will not be occupied up in here. They're not. You can already see the pattern. He's not even talking about a red state. So these are all Democratic locations, and where the crime is high in Republican locations, those are largely going to be ignored. So we shall see. We shall see. So y'all better take a page from Washington, D.C., how they set up those roadblocks, how the feds and the police are walking around and they're talking about they're cleaning up crime. Even the people in DC are saying they're not even getting the criminals. They're just getting a bunch of random people that are sitting at their house or walking down the street. You know, those are the kind of people they are getting, but the real criminals, they're not getting them at all. So I can see the same thing in Chicago with just a bunch of soft target arrests and then making the claim that you're cleaning up crime. Well, yeah, Donald Trump don't want to see no homeless people. You're right, Lisa Gibson. He's going to get them off the street wherever they are. And, you know, just like in DC, they got them all off the streets and whatever belongings they had, they threw in the trash. And that's exactly what they're going to do again in Chicago. No, even in DC, they're saying where the real criminals are, they're not even going over there in the areas that many of them live in that have you know, the most crime in DC. They said they're not even going over there at all. So, but that's supposed to be fighting crime. Go figure. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll certainly do this again tomorrow. And I am going to, as soon as they start in Chicago, we'll come back and look at what activities are going on in Chicago. And, you know, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of people that live in Chicago that will be posting videos just like in DC. So we'll hear what they have to say about the occupation that's about to take place. So y'all, please enjoy the rest of your night and be on the lookout for my videos and live streams for tomorrow. Shalom, family.